Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Monday. Not so sunny today. Looks like it might rain. We hope we have a great day anyway. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 41. Keep watching and praying so that you do not come into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So having come back to his disciples to discover they've not really been proactive in standing with him in this position that he was in with regards to the travail of his soul, he says that this statement, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And the spirit of who we are and the flesh of who we are and the soul of who we are very unique in as much as they have their own level of identity. Now, it doesn't mean that we're three different people, but it's helpful to understand what part of us is supposed to be proactive in this journey of life. And the Bible teaches us that the person that should be in charge of us is the spirit of who we are. And in this case, the disciples' spirit, Jesus says, was willing, that the spirit of who they were willing, but the flesh took hold of them. Now, the flesh is manipulated by the soul. And so what the soul wants, the soul gets. That's how we live as human beings in these days. Certainly when we was in rebellion to God and our spirits were dead and we were not even in connection with God, we're driven by our souls. And non-Christians, they're driven by their soulish desires. Christians, sadly, are still driven by soulish desires until they recognise that the spirit of who they are is supposed to be in charge of them. But in this case, even though their spirits were willing, they wanted to be in charge, they hadn't stepped up and taken charge. And the stepping up and taking charge is a journey of understanding. And it's something that we have to learn to do with regards to teaching our soul that it's not in charge. Teaching our soul that it can't get away with what it wants to get away with, the way that it's got away with it up to the point when we were Christians. We've got to learn to say to our soul, no. And the person saying no in us is our spirit. So Jesus says, your spirit is willing. So the spirit in them should have, at that time, said to the soul part of them, which controls the body, no, we're not going to go asleep. We're going to stand with Jesus and we're going to pray. We're going to give God our attention. We're going to focus on that. And so that need to kind of take hold of yourself, take charge of yourself and exercise some authority over yourself. That's a learned behaviour, a principle that needs to be applied to every Christian. That's why Galatians 5 says, walk by the Spirit and you will not satisfy the desires of the flesh. Well, they weren't walking by the Spirit. They were walking by the desires of the flesh because the flesh was tired and it wanted to sleep. But the Spirit in them wanted to be proactive. But the flesh in them said, no, that ain't how it's going to be. We're going to do what we want. And all through this day, you will encounter encounters that will enable you to make one choice. Will you let your spirit take charge or will you allow your soul to take charge? And just watch yourself during this day. And I guarantee you, if you listen to your spirit, you will hear and do a lot more different things than you would if you ignore him. Thanks for joining me. Be blessed. Have a great day and see you tomorrow.